Hi friends, everyone is saying solo queue ranked is harder in season 13 than it's ever been in Apex Legends before. I solo queue ranked every season, and I've got 10 tips or rules for you in today's video to help you solo queue ranked. Introducing Thak's solo queue rulebook. Rule number 1 of solo queue is to play with your team. Now this might sound like an obvious one, but actually a lot of solo queue players don't do this enough. You've got to at least try to play with your teammates as much as possible. Just because you're solo queuing, that doesn't mean you run off on your own. In fact, that's the worst thing you can do, certainly at the start of the game. You need to do your best to play with your team, and this means don't drop on your own and don't run off on your own. It's fine to play as the leader and be on the front foot in front of your teammates, but you just need to keep an eye on where they are and make sure if you're rotating and they're not with you, then make sure you adjust your rotation. Rule 2. Follow the best player in the squad, and if that's you, become the IGL. You need to and should be able to quickly and easily identify the best player in your squad. The stats on the starting screen for your squad should be a good indicator, but sometimes players do hide their stats, so you should also observe your teammates in the game and be good at recognizing the skill levels of your teammates. If you are clearly the best, then you need to take the lead. You need to become the IGL. And by the way, I did make a great video showing how the pros become IGLs, so go check out that video in the eye icon in the top right of your screen. Now just because you're the IGL, it doesn't mean your teammates will follow you, and for all of you seasoned solo queue players, you'll know that sometimes you get teammates that just ignore you. You just need to keep trying. And ultimately, this is where Rule 3 comes into play. Rule 3 is to stick to your calls and don't be afraid to leave. It may seem like it clashes with Rule 1 and 2, but this is actually the backup rule for when 1 and 2 fail. This is where your game sense will come into play. Think about your KP and placement, because you need both to rank up in Season 13. If your teammates look like they're going to do something that will affect either your KP or placement in a negative way, then you need to start thinking for yourself. Here is a really good example in this clip. There are 3 or 4 teams in Antenna, and up to this point you see I am close to my team, so I'm following my first couple of rules here. I even have to revive both my teammates because they get downed here in this exact same point of interest. But I know once I revive them, if we as a team don't push through Jurassic and rotate to the zone, we will get gatekept by another team and will literally all die. So I push forward and I ping to signal to my teammates where we need to move to, and if you're the IGL, this is exactly what you'll need to do. Unfortunately, these are the kind of teammates that don't listen, and clearly don't have the game sense to see there are too many teams there, and with the zone closing, to just stand there and fight would be suicide. So I put Rule 3 into action here. Of course, as I predict, both of them end up dying, and I'm left to solo it through the game. This guy even decides to trash talk me in the game, with a few swear words and insults about my family. Now sadly I didn't record the in-game chat, but you can see the speakerphone icon on his name is moving, meaning he's clearly talking in-game. Anyway, despite all of that, luckily I'm good enough to pick up 4 kills and still manage to survive to the top 4, which gives me some solid points. And this is exactly what you'll need to do sometimes as a solo queue player. It's not a win, but 4 kills in the top 4 is better than 0 kills outside the top 10 like it would have been if I'd just stuck around and waited for my teammates. Moving on to Rule 4. Slow down your game and make sure you adjust to your teammates. Some people would say you need to be more aggressive as a solo player, and some people say you need to be more defensive. Now I personally do feel solo queuing requires you to be a little bit more considerate, rather than senselessly pushing all the time, and that's mainly because as a solo queue, it's hard to coordinate as a team. But the truth really is that you just need to adjust this based on your team. Just have some patience, that's the real secret. Rule number 5. Match your teammates' weapons. For example, there's no point you picking up an SMG and a shotgun if your teammates have snipers and LMGs, because that indicates they want to play at range. So short range weapons like an SMG and a shotgun are going to limit what you can contribute to that team. However, if you match your weapons to theirs, it will not only help you adapt to their tempo of play, but also help you be more effective with your teammates. And a great way to do this is to choose adaptable weapons. For example, I like to use the R301 and I can use it at any range, long range, medium range, short range. And this means I can pick up the R301 and adapt my playstyle to how my teammates want to play and their weapon loadouts. So doing this will definitely help you when you're solo queuing. Rule number 6. Comms help, but you don't have to talk. Obviously, speaking to your teammates will make a big difference. Check my callouts video for an in-depth look at what callouts to use when you're using in-game comms with your teammates. However, a lot of the time when I solo queue, I just don't feel like talking to anyone. That's kind of part of the reason I'm solo queuing, and sometimes I just want to do something competitive without really having to shout out calls. Plus, sometimes you get those aggressive teammates that just don't make you feel comfortable speaking directly to them, and that's where the ping system becomes so important. And I rarely see people using it these days. Apart from pinging an enemy or a direction, most people don't use the rest of their ping wheels. Now, there's never a guarantee a teammate will listen, but at least you can try by using your ping wheel to indicate what you want to do in a given situation. Let's move on to rule number 7, play your best legend. So this is all about legend selection for solo queuing. My best advice is to pick the legend you play best as. Yes, movement legends can help when you're solo queuing, but in reality, it just needs to be the legend you know you perform best as, regardless of what legends your random teammates pick. And that's the best way to choose your legend when you solo queue. Moving on to rule number 8, take a break. Now this is one you might not think of, but it's so important. There are numerous research articles that show humans can't concentrate at the same rate for large amounts of time. It differs across the people as to how long you can concentrate for, so it really will help if you just take a break when you're feeling you're losing concentration. Just go grab a drink or step outside for 5 minutes. Just do something to break the cycle and your focus on the game, because when you're not doing well, that will definitely help you. And this moves us nicely into rule number 9, stop losing streaks. Now this is similar to rule number 8, but it's the next level up. You see, the truth is, sometimes you're just not in the zone. It happens to everyone, even the pros. Look at how Shiv, all of the great Apex players, they all have their off days, and you're no different. So if you're on a losing streak and clearly having a bad day, just stop playing ranked. Go play some pubs or arenas, or go watch some Netflix, maybe play football in the yard. Just stop playing ranked for a little bit, maybe even for the rest of the day. And honestly, this will help you in the long term when you're trying to rank up, because it's better to stop playing and play another day than lose all of your RP, especially this season when you can actually be demoted. Finally, let's move on to rule number 10, stick to the strategy. Now you might think strategy should be higher up, but the reason this is rule number 10 is because it's very dependent on the previous rules, especially rules 1, 2 and 3. However, the ultimate strategy to gain RP and rank up faster this season is simple. Land at a point of interest with a beacon and maximum one other squad. Scan the beacon, loot the point of interest and take out that team that landed with you. Rotate early to the zone and aim for a rotation where there's another beacon to scan. Just keep repeating this until you get to the final zone. Don't chase any kills even if you hear gunfire nearby. The only time you want to engage other squads is if they're blocking your way or blocking your rotation and you don't have a choice. In that case, you can use that opportunity to pick up KP. But apart from that, you're not fighting, you're focusing on zone rotations, and you're going to wait until the top 3 to 5 teams before you start actively engaging fights. And if you follow that, you'll be guaranteed positive RP. Anyway, those are just my simple rules on how to successfully solo queue ranked in Apex Legends Season 13. Follow these rules with discipline and have a little bit of patience, and you will start to rank up faster as a solo. I hope this helps. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you later.